everybody, it's Amy from Winterwood Studio, and today we're going to be doing 5 ways to fill up your sketchbook. So come on in and let's chat for a little bit. Okay, so way number 1 is social media challenges, and by this I mean like the monthly challenges and also the draw this in your style challenges. So one of the nice things about Instagram is the art community that is on there. There's just a huge art community, and there's basically a challenge for everything you can think of. There's all sorts of challenges on there. Okay, so some of the monthly challenges that I have participated in are the Undying Tales project, that's in October, Inktober, also October, Cozytober, Drawtober, I think Witchtober. October is a huge month for drawing challenges. If you've been in the art community for a while, then you know October's the biggest month. But there are other months that are also big. Mermaid is a big one. That's in May. And it's all about mermaids, obviously. And there's Huevember in November, and then I think also maybe in November is Folktale Week, which is like an illustration challenge. I love that one. That's a nice one. Basically all you have to do is go to like Instagram and do like a monthly drawing challenge search, and you'll probably find one for the month we're in. The ones I listed are probably the biggest ones, but I could be missing one. You never know. And then the other thing you can do is the draw this in your style challenge, and that's where like an individual account will post a piece of their artwork and then have you draw it in your style, and they will pick a winner. And sometimes it is like a prize, and sometimes it's just for fun. And there's one specific account I follow that lists all of the draw this in your style challenges that are going on. Like, it'll just post them every day. I forget the Instagram handle for that, but I'll post it in the links down below so you can find it. Like, there's basically several a day that they post on there. So that's always a good place to check if you're looking for just an individual challenge to do. It's a great way to fill up your sketchbook and also to connect with the art community and make art friends. So I highly recommend all of those, and I highly recommend that you check those out. If there are links to any of those, I'll put those down below too. I know there's a page for Inktober, and I think there's a page for the Undying Tales that's run by Stephanie Law. If you've watched my other videos, you've, I'm sure, heard me talk about her. She's one of my favorite watercolor artists. I'll link what I can down below. Not everything I think has links, but what I can I'll link down below. Okay, so then another way to fill up your sketchbook is to do prompts that you find from inspiring art books. And I have 3 of my favorites right here, and I'm going to show them to you. So the first one that I like is Sketch with Asia. And she has, it's Asia, I never know how to say her last name. Asia Ladwowska. I hope I'm not butchering it too bad. But she is very active on Instagram. She has a hashtag Sketch with Asia on there. She does a lot of manga inspired art, but I mean, her prompts are good for whatever style you draw in, and this is an excellent book for inspiration. And one thing I like about this book is that it's not just digital art. I'm not even sure if she does digital art at all, but I know this is pretty traditional materials based, and especially it's got stuff on like alcohol markers, Copic markers, which is actually kind of hard to find, books that have that, books that use alcohol markers as a medium. So I highly recommend this book. It's a great book and a very inspiring one to look through when you're out of ideas. So then my next favorite book is Sketch Every Day. Over 200 pages of art and sketching techniques from Simone Grünewald. And again, sorry if that's not how we say the last name. She also has another book, I think, that's called Draw With What You Love, that I highly recommend. I don't have that one yet. I do plan on getting it at some point. And again, her books, she does do some digital. It's not all traditional, but she also does talk about traditional. A lot of the techniques that she talks about in here are good for whatever medium you're working in. It doesn't matter if you work in pen and ink or colored pencil or digital. Her ideas will work for all across the board. So I highly recommend this book as well. And if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend that you do. And also her Instagram is full of inspiration too, so check her out on there as well. And then this one is called Sketching from the Imagination, Creatures and Monsters. And this is a whole series, and I have, I think, 3 or 4 in the series. And what I like about this is that it's not one specific artist. but it's not one specific artist. It's a bunch of different artists, and they talk about their sketching. Like, each artist has a couple pages, and they talk about their sketching process and how they go about finding inspiration and some of their influences. And it shows some of their different pieces, and it's sketchbook pieces, so it's like, you know, rough stuff from their sketchbook. But, you know, there's so many different styles and different techniques, and these books, again, are very inspiring when you don't know what to draw. I find by the time I take one of these out and just flip through it, I am very inspired, and can easily go and sit down at my sketchbook and start creating. Okay, the third way that you can fill up your sketchbook is to do a 100 things challenge. And this isn't really a social media challenge, although you can post it on social media. I'm sure you've seen people doing these on there. But what they are like, you can have a 100 heads challenge, and a lot of the times it's 100 things in 100 days, but I find that that can be very overwhelming and can set you up for failure. I don't know if you've ever done Inktober, but that's, you know, 30 things in 30 days, and usually by the end, well, first of all, I've never made it entirely to the end. I've always missed a few days here and there, and sometimes missed huge chunks here and there. So if you're gonna do one of these 100 things challenges, I don't know that I would suggest doing the 100 things in 100 days unless you have a large chunk of time every single day, and you know your life is nice and stable, and there's not going to be any emergencies, and, you know, no kids getting sick, and no pets having to go to the vet. You know, whatever, you know what I mean? So, like, if I were going to do it, and I have toyed with doing one, and I might still, I would not commit to doing 100 things in 100 days, because I would try to hold myself to that, and then I would feel really, really bad if I didn't do it, because that's what I do. So there's the 100 things in 100 days challenges. I'm just going to call it 100 things. You do it in however many days you need. But there's a lot of people will do 100 heads, 100 feet, 100 hands. It's basically to pick something that you're not great at and draw variations of it 100 times. And by the time you're done, you have the muscle memory and the skill to draw it whenever you want. I do at some point plan to probably do 100 heads and 100 hands. But again, not in 100 days. But I had 3 art goals for 2023. I mean, I still have them. My 3 goals were to get better at drawing landscapes, faces, and the whole human form, human body. So those are my 3 things that I wanted to work on this year. And I do think at some point I'd like to do a heads/faces one. But again, not in 100 days. I might even get like a little special sketchbook for that, so all of the faces are in one little sketchbook. I haven't decided yet. But that's an excellent way to fill up your sketchbook, and you don't have to do people. I mean, you can draw anything. You could draw 100 pens, or 100 art supplies, or 100 vases, or 100 birds, or 100 flowers. It's just basically whatever you want to draw and get better at, and just have the repetition until you really get that skill down. And you don't have to do 100 either. If you get to 28 and you think you really got the hang of drawing roses or whatever, then stop at 28. You don't have to hold yourself to 100. It's just however many you need to do to get down the skills and the muscle memory to do that in the future. The 4th way to fill up your sketchbook is to go outside and do some plein air sketching. This can be urban or it can be rural. It doesn't matter. If you're in an urban setting, then, you know, draw what you see there. If you're in the middle of a forest, draw what you see there. If you're at the seaside, draw what you see there. It's really just to get outside and to start drawing things from life, and not just from a photo reference like I've talked about before in my 5 habits video. And if you haven't seen the 5 habits that help change your art forever, I'll link that down below too, so you can check that out. But if you did watch it, then you know how I think it's really important to practice drawing from life, because when you draw from a photo, that's a 2D representation of a 3D object, and it gets a little distorted. It's actually easier to learn to draw from a 3D object in front of you. And that's why I suggest going outside. if you're outside and drawing and you don't like landscapes, it doesn't have to be landscapes. You can draw a flower, you can draw an interesting branch, you can draw a person sitting on a bench in the park or a duck swimming on a pond. Whatever you're interested in drawing, you can probably find something outside that you can draw in that area. It's an excellent way to fill up your sketchbook, and it's a fun thing to look back on once your sketchbook is full. Especially like if you keep like one sketchbook for like your local area around your house, or one sketchbook for when you go on a trip to Italy. I've never gone on a trip to Italy. If you have, you're very lucky. But I just mean in general, once you come back or whatever from vacation, you have the sketchbook of all your memories. It's like a photo album, but better. It's a very fun way to fill up a sketchbook. So that would be number 4. And then number 5 is you could join my Winterwood Studio Sketching Club. This is the official launch, you guys. It's going to be on my Patreon page. I'm just starting with a $4 tier. I do at some point plan to offer tutorials, and I'll probably have an $8 or $9 tier, but for now, we're going to start with my sketching club. So what that's going to be is I have a theme already picked out for all of the next 12 months, and each week I will post 3 prompts that fit within that theme on the Patreon page. And I've made a private Facebook group where we can post our art and chat and get to know each other better. And if I can ever figure out Discord, I'll try to get that done too. I'm working on it. I don't have it figured out yet. But once I do, I'll connect that and we'll have that too, because I know not everybody likes Facebook. You know, I know it's kind of early in my journey to start a Patreon, but honestly, I just wanted to like make a community where we could talk and share things and share our art. And, you know, if there's only me and 3 other people in it, that's fine. We'll get to know each other really well, you know? But I could use a little motivation for sketching too, and I just thought it'd be really nice to have like a group of people together where we motivate each other and we're all working on the same prompts at the same time and keeping each other company and sharing our work. So if you are interested at all in joining the Winterwood Studio Sketchbook Club, the link to that Patreon group will be down below, and I look forward to seeing whoever feels like joining over there, even if it's only 3 other people. It'll be fun. We'll get to know each other. It'll be like sitting down and having tea and sharing our sketchbooks with each other. So, and I think I've picked out some pretty fun themes and prompts too, if I do say so myself. So hopefully I'll see you guys over there, and if not, that's fine too. Just by watching this video, you've helped support my channel, and when you hit the like and subscribe button, that helps support my channel too. So all of those ways help pay for my art supplies and my video editing stuff and software and all of that. So every little bit helps me be able to keep making these free YouTube videos for you guys too. So okay, so I'm going to show you some of my favorite sketchbooks. I have used many over the years, and this is a little stack of some of my favorites for various different media, depending on what kind of media I'm using. So my first favorite sketchbook, the one that I've used for years and years, is this one. This is the Moleskine art sketchbook. Moleskine, however you say it. I'm pretty sure it's the thicker paper one. It's not the watercolor one. It's the art mixed media. I don't know. It's their art one. And I find that this is good for pencils, colored pencils, ink, light washes of watercolor, gouache, and alcohol marker, as long as you don't plan to draw on the back side of the page, and as long as you have a protector sheet in between the page you're working on and the ones below it. I do not recommend this for heavy watercolor, and even with light watercolor you will get some rippling, as I think you can see right there. I use a little bit of water media in here, so there is some light rippling. It's not too bad. I don't mind it. It's up to you whether you do or not. But this is my all-purpose sketchbook. It's a little pricey, so I don't always buy these, and we will get into some cheaper options as well, but this is one of my most favorites. So then moving on to cheaper options is this little mixed media sketchbook from Canson. You can get these at like Walmart or Michael's or any cheap art supply store. They're very inexpensive. I think at Walmart, this one was $6.75 the last time I bought it. It's a mixed media sketchbook. It does hold up to watercolor washes pretty well. I have, again, used water in this one, and there's minimal rippling. The paper is fairly thick. I'd say it's got more of a tooth than hot press watercolor paper, but less than a cold press. And this is a very good, inexpensive mixed media option sketchbook. It comes in a bunch of different sizes. This is the 5.5 by 8.5, and like I said, I think the last time I bought one of these at Walmart, it was $6.75 if I remember it correctly. So that's a good cheaper option. This is another cheaper option. This is the Royal Talons Art Creation sketchbook, and it's tiny and mini and cute. It's got paper that is extremely similar to the Moleskine paper. I'm gonna open it up to unused pages and show you. So here's the side-by-side of the Moleskine and the Royal Talons. The Royal Talons is maybe just a touch creamier. This is not white. It looks white right now, but it is not white. This is also a cream. They're both creams, and this one's maybe just a touch darker than this one. This is not white. I think the weight of the paper is the same. The tooth of the paper is the same, and this comes in other sizes if you don't want to use the mini. So I do recommend that one as well. I think when I bought this on Amazon, it was $8. And again, what I can link, because I'm not sure if that Canson one is on Amazon, but what I can link will be linked down below, and even if I don't have a link, I'll still list it down below so you can see what I used. So that's another good option, and again, light layers of water media with this are alright. If for either of these two, if you're doing watercolor, like just a light wash with pen maybe, this one can hold a little bit more water media. The paper's a little bit thicker and it's a little bit more meant for that. And then this is my, so far, favorite watercolor sketchbook. I haven't tried the Moleskine watercolor sketchbook that I bought yet, so I can't compare it to this one. And I really want to get the Arches watercolor sketchbook, which just came out. I haven't had a chance to get that one yet, but I'll be getting that and reviewing that one soon. But, you know, I haven't tried those yet. So of the ones that I've tried, this one is my favorite so far. It's got a nice cloth cover. I don't remember who makes this. It says Travelogue Handbook in it. I think I just tried it out on Amazon one day, and I was actually fairly happy with it. It does hold, I mean, I've done a lot of my gouache pieces on here, and it does hold, it holds multiple, like this was lots and lots and lots of layers, and it was fine. Like, it's minimal buckling and rippling. It's handled heavy layers of water just fine, and I highly recommend this one. I will put the link to this one down below. I did get this one on Amazon. And then my favorite marker sketchbook is this one. This is the Ilio sketchbook, and this I think is specifically made for alcohol markers. I could be wrong. The paper is very, very smooth. It almost feels coated, which makes me think that it might be made for markers, and it handles alcohol markers very, 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 very well. Like this, multiple layers of marker, and as long as you have the protective sheet behind, but like you can see, there's not a ton of bleed through, even with, I mean, that was lots of layers of markers for that one. So I do highly recommend this if you're using alcohol markers in your sketches. And I like the square shape of it too. I like that. So those are some of the favorite sketchbooks that I've been using and enjoying. In whichever community you decide to be in, I am so grateful to have you watching my videos and liking and commenting, and it has meant so much to me to meet so many encouraging, kind people here. And it has just been such a pleasure getting to know you guys, and I look forward to doing that for many more years yet to come. So thanks for being here with me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, happy creating!